What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday afternoon, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Ontario, Canada, and it's almost October, which is crazy. Think about that. It's almost a year ago that we all went to theaters to see Halloween Ends. Despite what you thought of the movie, whether you loved it, hated it, neutral, that's a year ago. One calendar year has almost passed. That's nuts. If you really want to feel old, you've seen Halloween 2018. If you're one of the people that's seen it at TIFF or one of the other festivals, that's over half a decade ago. Time moves like nothing else. Joining me on this episode, haven't talked to this gentleman in quite some time. He's got a really good video out on his channel right now. It's Mr. Braden Timmons. What's going on, man? Long time no see.
What's happening, man? Glad to be back here. I know, like you said, it's been a minute that since I've been on this show, but I'm excited to be back. Excited to be talking about Halloween. Excited to be just ready for the fall and everything. I mean, the fall just started this past week, so hopefully it's been a good start for everyone. But yeah, what a great time it is right now.
It's crazy right now. Like there's it shows that despite having 3 movies in the last 5 years, there's still an appetite for the franchise, which is why there's a bidding war going on.
Yeah, it's interesting to see everybody's comments right now about the franchise, because there are some people that are excited that we're getting another possible Halloween movie very shortly. Because I was just texting my buddy this morning, I was like, the fact that we are potentially on the horizon of getting this franchise back already is quite crazy. But there were some people yesterday that were voicing their opinion saying it's over, let it die or whatever. And I'm like, the thing that people don't realize is that this franchise is never going anywhere. It's going to disappear for a time being, but eventually it will be back and there will be some new takes on it. And, that's how we keep these franchises alive. That's what's going on right now with several different slashers. I mean, these are classic slashers too. I mean, look, I mentioned in my video yesterday that Chucky is literally about to be on season 3 already of their TV series on USA and Sci-Fi. Scream's gone through a few TV shows. And so I'm curious to see what is going to be next for Halloween. Are we going to do a movie first? Are we going to do a TV series and then a movie? There's a variety of different options that can be done coming up with whoever gets the rights. So
I would much rather apologies for my voice, by the way, everybody. As you can tell, I'm still recovering from whatever the hell this flu bug was. I would rather be talking about the rights, honestly, than what has sort of dominated the fandom for the last calendar year. And it seems to be, if you hate Halloween Ends, you're wrong. If you love Halloween Ends, you're wrong. It's like this divisiveness that we've seen kind of go over the Star Wars franchise. And honestly, most fandoms nowadays in 2023, I'd much rather, discuss and be excited about the possibility of, not the possibility, there will be a new movie, as you said, eventually. And I'm much more inclined to talk about that than debate, whether someone's right or wrong for liking something.
Yeah, no, and I think that because liking something is subjective. You're gonna like it, you're not gonna like it, right? And I feel like that was kind of the boat that the fandom was in when it came down to the sequel trilogy as a whole. Because it's even when Halloween 2018 came out, it's even though that one definitely had, from my perspective, from what I've seen, and just my audience that listens to me constantly, is that most people seem to really like Halloween 2018 when it came out. They thought it was a really good sequel to the already existing movies, paying homage to really the entire franchise, and there was a lot of Easter eggs that was a lot of fun for fans. And then Halloween Kills came about, which did have a lot of hype, because the trailers were really well done for that. While they were very spoilery, it still got fans excited for the movie. And then the movie came out and the story is what really lacked there, but the kills were really good. And everything with Michael Myers was great, but the characters were very wishy-washy, and there were some characters that came back and just had no business being back in the movie, and they were just kind of there. And then Halloween Ends came. So like you were saying, like there was just, it seems like it really is the Star Wars of the I'd say of really the slasher or horror universe right now. Is literally, it's the Star Wars of it, is that it's got the most divided fan base right now. Because I mean, the Scream fans, they're all loving it, and I'm loving what Paramount's doing with Scream right now. I think that both Scream 5 and 6, and 6 was better than 5. I just said that in my video this morning. But yeah, I think that for where we stand right now, Halloween, I feel like does need a fresh start. And it really does come down to, like you're saying, I'm interested to see who's going to end up with the rights for the franchise.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there right now that's happening with the rights. You and I were talking off air about it, how some people are just like, okay, well, the new Halloween's, it's here and it's already done, signed, sealed, and delivered, and that's just not the case. Like, there will be a new Halloween, and to follow up on your point earlier, people that just want the franchise to like go away and die, like that's just not how Hollywood works anymore. If you have an IP that's worth money, guess what? You're probably going to squeeze it for every drop and every dime you can get out of it. But it's how you do it and how you go about it that I think is important. I've also seen people out there that are saying that Trancas and Miramax are just outright selling the franchise, and to my knowledge, that's not what's happening. I know there's people that get that mixed up with I'm going to use the term leasing the rights to go make a select number of movies. For example, Blumhouse and Universal, they did a deal for one movie. They were talking about two movies to begin with, but they only did the one movie, which was Halloween 2018. They settled for one, which is why you had almost an entire year before you got more movies announced. They had to go back and do a deal for two more movies. So I would assume that any deal that gets done with whatever studio ends up coming up big with it is going to at least have options for additional films, rather than having to go back to the drawing table and figure out another number. And the number will be high. Like, make no mistake about it. I know there's some people that are ripping on some fellow content creators this morning over some numbers that they put on. And I'm just here to say, like, studios are paying out the ass for new content, whether it's content they intend to release in theaters or eventually put exclusively on their streaming app. Like, rights deals right now are way higher than they've ever been, which is why you're seeing this happen. I know there's people that thought that we were going to see nothing at all from Halloween for half a decade, maybe even 10 years, but there's just way too much money out there right now. And you had a strike that's just happened and is potentially over. It's just too much money to leave on the table.
I agree. I think that when you have a property like Halloween and you've got so much that you can still do in this universe and in this world, that, I mean, if obviously Universal's contract was up for their rights to the property, so now Miramax is shopping around, and I mean, like you were saying, the bid is going to be high. I mean, Halloween is genuinely one of the most, if not the most popular horror franchise, period. Like, I think that, yes, obviously there's Scream and there's Nightmare and there's Friday. But I really do think that Halloween is just like number one in terms of popularity, in terms of the character of Michael Myers. And, I'm sorry if there's Friday fans listening or Nightmare fans or Scream fans, but it's just, I'm just going based off of like what I constantly see. And it's always that Michael Myers is number one when it comes to the rank of favorite slasher. So, it's obviously going to be expensive, or the number is going to be very high for what studio is going to end up with the rights. And it needs to be a studio, though, that can afford to dish out that kind of cash. And honestly, right now, Paramount, which is apparently, per reports, this is just kind of what we know as of right now, what's been publicized, it's that Paramount is the studio that can potentially dish out the most money. And that's why when people are saying that nobody is outbidding them, I understand why. They are a massive studio and have been a massive studio for years. So, I don't think, for those of you, and I said this in my video this morning, for those of you that think A24 is going to acquire the rights, I really don't think that they have the cash at this point to afford what a property like Halloween. So
if you rewind, I suppose it'd be 6 or 7 years when Universal and Blumhouse did the deal for Halloween 2018. Yeah, A24 probably could have got in on the deal like that, but the landscape has just changed so much. Like, I know this isn't movies, but like, take a wrestling product like All Elite Wrestling, which is not even close to the popularity of WWE, who just went through a merger with UFC, and AEW is getting ready to sign a deal worth over $1 billion for 5 years of TV rights. Like, that was unheard of for a number two years ago. And I wanna pull up my screen here and give a shout out to Wolfman's Got Nards. I know you did it in your video too, but I've seen some unfair criticism of him, to be honest, from this. And he said, let's get this clear straight away. If Universal paid $400 million for the rights to do an Exorcist trilogy, there's absolutely zero chance of A24 paying even more on the Halloween franchise. They don't have that kind of money. Forget it. It's going to be a big studio. He's right, by the way. It was $400 million for 3 movies. I know there's people that fight back against that. No, they paid out the ass to get exclusive rights for that trilogy, and obviously having David Gordon Green attached. That's something people aren't talking about here. It's not just a financial bid that's happening. There's also got to be creative attached to it too. If you think Malaka Cad's just signing off on anything, he's not. We've talked about it for a long time leading into Halloween Ends. We tried to warn people that movie was going to be mismarketed, and I stand by that. It was. Go look at the marketing. They marketed it as Michael versus Laurie, the big final showdown, and the movie is not that. And the movie does a bunch of good too, to be honest. And I just, the cost of things is so astronomically high now that whatever, and I don't have the number in front of me, whatever Universal and Blumhouse paid for that first Halloween movie is insignificant compared to paying $400 million for 3 Exorcist movies. It's also important to note, and even in our own group chats that we have with Fandom Empire, there's people that are unaware who owns Miramax. And who owns Miramax right now? Paramount owns Miramax, which means in essence, it would be an in-house transaction. And honestly, you probably have more trust with a company that you're already tied to than going out of house. Now, I'm not going to rule out A24, because if you look at what's happening with Crystal Lake, it's not just an A24 thing. It's an A24 Universal thing. It's a joint effort. So A24 could absolutely attach themselves to some other big studio, but they are not going to go do a Halloween movie or Halloween movies by themselves.
No, absolutely not. They're not. And I see we got Wolfman here in the chat. Yes, Barry, we're talking a little bit about you. I did reference your tweet from yesterday, and I found that to be a very interesting point, because it honestly is nothing just but pure facts. Is that I think that your exact quote was that they are worth $2.2 billion, I think A24 is. And I mean, they would have to dish out a solid at least 800 or 900 million to be able to acquire a property like Halloween by themselves. And I did also say in my video this morning, though, that A24 could potentially, if they did do that, it would be a big risk, because that would be a large amount of their sum of money that they have worked very hard to, make with their property and everything. But it could be a good long-term investment if they are in for multiple movies. But if they did that kind of deal for like one movie or something like that, it would just be super dumb. But if like they sign on to it for like a multi-film deal, then sure, yeah, if you're going to put like Talk to Me this year was made for 3.2 million and it made 70 million across like worldwide. That's very profitable for them. Now, if they make a Halloween movie for say 8 million and they end up making a whole bunch of money on that, then boom, they make their money back on one, but then they're going to need to do that quite a few times to make the money back that they have spent to acquire that property. So they would need to strategize that, and I just don't think that A24 is gonna make that kind of business decision. So
Yeah, not by themselves. I think Wolfman nailed it with it's going to be a big studio. Again, a big studio could partner with A24. That's not out of the question, but my sense of things is A24 is firmly all in on their Crystal Lake series, which is not supposed to be a one season and done thing. And it was very deep in the writing stages, I believe, before the strikes. So we'll see what happens there. But like another example would be George Lucas sold Star Wars. I think it was for $4.4 billion back in 2012, I believe it was. That's 11 years ago. And that's outright selling not just Star Wars, all of Lucasfilm for $4.4 billion. And just to make, and that's forever. That's a Disney property as long as they retain it. Where Universal paid $400 million. I know $400 million is significantly less than $4.4 billion, but that's for 3 movies. That's it. That's not, permanent ownership of the brand.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly insane that they paid just 400 million. But The Exorcist is also not necessarily a property like Halloween. Exorcist is popular, don't get me wrong, but I mean we got to see how Exorcist Believer does with their box office here in the next couple of weeks, and we're finally going to get that number at the end of that weekend. I'm interested to see what that number is going to be, because they also took a major risk at even giving even more spoilers to people that attend Universal's Halloween Horror Nights this year with getting us a maze that doesn't even have a movie out yet. So, I actually found that to be incredibly wild that they announced that as one of their properties that they were going to be using. Granted, it's in-house, so it's easy for them to, put that out as one of their things just for marketing purposes. But I'll be curious to see how the movie actually does at the box office in the next couple of weeks. So I know that people have been pretty vocal about it not looking all that great. But yeah, I'll be interested to see. I unfortunately can't attend my my press screening that I got an invite to, but I do hope that it is good. When I have to pay now to see it, so I hope that it's worth the money.
Yeah, I can't say I've heard a lot of positive things on the Exorcist front, but I'm a firm believer of, regardless of what any content creator or critic says, you should definitely go see a product for yourself and
Yes,
and draw your own opinion and conclusion from it. Don't allow. I know a lot of people are classified as influencers out here, but like draw your own conclusion. Like what you like, love what you love. It doesn't matter what other people think. Wolfman brings up a good point here. Even with Peacock and A24's deal with Crystal Lake, it includes the fact that Cunningham can still simultaneously release Jason and unrelated movies, and that right there is a blurb that I wanted to get to. We were going to bring up anyway, but Wolfman beat us to it. That's exactly what I expect to happen here. I don't think there is going to be an overall deal with a studio that outright gets both movie and streaming or TV rights. Potentially, they have a chance to make even more money by leasing the movie rights off to one studio and the streaming/TV rights off to another studio. Not saying that's the best way to go, but at the end of the day, you have a chance to capitalize here. And honestly, if again, creative is attached to this, it's not just a dollar figure. So if there is anything to the Season of the Witch stuff, which I would be for, I'm not against that at all. And there's a guy that just signed an exclusive deal over at Prime, who, while he said he tried to put a Michael Myers movie together many years ago, Mike Flanagan, that is, he just really struggled to come up with an interesting idea. Season of the Witch retell, sequel, whatever, and you look at some of the stuff that Flanagan has done over the years, to me, that falls right into Flanagan's wheelhouse. So I would not be shocked to see Prime get in here and have Flanagan involved in some sort of Season of the Witch reboot or retelling. That's, I'm not saying there's anything to that. It's pie in the sky idea there, but it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a significant amount of money that comes in for the franchise. And I don't know how soon it's going to happen, but this is what I challenge everybody to do. I know when news like this comes out or rumors like this come out, everybody quickly rushes over to, any content creator they can to see what information is out there. But go back and listen to the press for Halloween Ends, opening night, and even after that. David Gordon Green on 2 occasions, and it's on YouTube, says, yeah, Malaka Cad's already moved on to the next thing for Halloween. They're already working away. I'm telling you, the rights thing is not new. It's not like Bloody Disgusting just found this information out. I guarantee you they've been sitting on it. And David Gordon Green tipped their hat last year. Like, this is something that has been in the works since last year now. Does it mean there's something close? I have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked to see something announced at the 45-year anniversary convention. But again, I don't think they should do that unless something is signed, sealed, and delivered, because the Acads in the past have had a history of opening their mouths at conventions and then not delivering on the promises that they make at conventions. So definitely don't say anything until it's official. But I'm really curious to see where this goes. What are your thoughts on them going the Season of the Witch route for a TV series, but sticking with Michael for a movie?
So I think that the only possible way that Season of the Witch makes its revival to any sort of screen is if it's through streaming or through a TV series. I do not think that a studio wants to dish out the money for a standalone Season of the Witch sequel or a reboot or anything like that. I think that it needs to be done in the form of a TV series, because that's where I think it's going to get the most views and the most amount of watch time. I don't think that people will show up at a theater to see. And again, I'm saying this as a fan of Season of the Witch, so maybe I should have prefaced that. I do like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I think that it's a good anthology movie. I think if they have a 6-episode standalone series coming out with it, I think that can do really well. But it would need to be in the form of a TV series. It would not be able to be a movie unless it was a movie going straight to streaming, like a Peacock original movie or a Paramount Plus original movie, something like that. Then it could probably do well. But I don't think people would show up at the theater to see it. The thing that's going to keep people going to the theater to see Halloween is the title character, and that's Michael Myers. That's the only thing that will get people and butts into seats. So I like the idea of them doing a TV series with it, the 6 episodes. It sounds interesting. I would be curious to see what it is that they're or what they would have cooked up for, if it would take place in modern times or if it would be like just a direct sequel taking place a few years later in the 80s or something like that. I don't know. But I would be all in for it. I think that is the best route to go if you're going to be doing anything with Halloween Season of the Witch. So,
yeah, streaming definitely makes the most sense. I really like Season of the Witch. I'm one of those people that I saw it for the first time many, many years ago, and I just loved everything about it. I loved the atmosphere, the sound design. It captured me. Yeah, it doesn't have Michael in it, but it's a really good horror Halloween movie. But it also feels like it's the type of movie that is rushed a lot in terms of the scale of the story they're telling. And if you have 6 episodes or 8 episodes or 10 episodes to stretch that story out, to build characters and have nuance, I think it can really pay dividends to a story like that. Just let me know when you got to go. I know you're tight on time, dude.
No, you're good.
On the Halloween, sorry, on the Michael Myers front, yeah, that is who you go to the box office with. We talked about it last night on the show, how some diehard fans are not going to see it, and my co-host Zach was a little blunt with what he said. But like, as much as us diehards love Halloween, when you're sending a movie to the box office, You need to be able to appeal to like my mother-in-law and father-in-law who don't really know much about Halloween, but if you want their asses in the seats come, October, you want a movie that they don't have to know every little tidbit of past Halloween stories. I expect, no inside knowledge on this whatsoever, that it'll be a fresh start. I'm not saying a reboot. I'm not saying Laurie Strode. I'm talking something that could literally just pick up and it's a Halloween slasher, and you might get some very loose Easter eggs that call back to movies from the past, but no direct ties to any of them. I expect to see all new protagonists and Michael being able to do his thing and probably looking a little different too. You got to do something new. You can't just go back and do the same old thing over and over and over again. The financial side of this is going to be big. So like you're not going to get a Halloween movie that's made for 50 or 60 million dollars if they're paying, $500 million or more for the rights. They're going to be trying to make it on the cheap, as effective as they can to generate as much profit as they can. So we'll see what happens, but I do expect that it'll just be a clean slate and we're going to get just sort of this random start. And I'm excited for something like this. Like, I don't want a new Michael Myers story to be weighed down by what is Jamie Lee Curtis doing or what is Laurie Strode doing. And well, you might be able to do different takes on Loomis or whatnot. Let's just do something fresh and new and have Michael involved in that. That's the direction I could see them going. Again, like as us diehards, who wouldn't love to see, not to steal your thunder here, man, but who wouldn't love to see Josh Hartnett back in a standalone Halloween movie? Now, from what I understand, he's a little busy in the MCU coming up, so I don't see him doing anything anytime soon. Sounds like he's signing a big deal to play a big role over there. But as much as we want that, or a continuation of Jamie Lloyd's story, or a different continuation from Halloween 2, I just don't see any of those things realistically happening. I think it'll be a fresh start, and your sticking point will be you're getting to see some version of Michael Myers again. Where do you fall on all that?
I think that a fresh start is a great way to go. I really do think that I read the Halloween Return script a few years ago, and it's still a script that sticks with me. I think that it is a fantastic script. I think it literally makes Michael Myers scary again, and I think that he's brutal. He's like got the classic shape vibe to him, and he also is just absolutely menacing in that script. There is a few things towards the third act where I'm just like, okay, that sounds like it's a bit too action sequency for Michael Myers. But I do think that for the most part, that script was done really well, and it paid a lot of great homage to the franchise. I was a fan of it. If we get something or anything like that was going to be a revitalization or a fresh start to the franchise, if we get something like that, now I don't think that a studio is just going to jump on that script because it's already been online for so many years and people have had the chance to read it. And as cool as it would see the vision come to life on screen, if we get something like that, it would be awesome. And if there's anybody in the chat that hasn't read the script, I'm pretty sure you could still find it online if you just Google the Halloween Return script. But it is truly a great script. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, and to comment on Matt's thing here, I will be at H45 this weekend, so I'm definitely curious to see what they are going to do and if they're going to give any announcements. So.
I am curious to see what else is coming for Halloween. Like we ran a couple of videos earlier this year in spring where we said there's going to be there already is a rights thing going on, and then the strike happened and everything sort of slowed down. I guess the part I'm not necessarily bummed out about, but a little disappointed is we also mentioned there was Halloween novels coming. It would appear that those novels are actually reprints of two different types of reprints of the original Halloween novel. Not that that's a bad thing, because I know tons of people have wanted to get their hands on that for a very long time, and they can't find it, or they find it used and it's not in great condition. But you'll notice that when you're looking at Halloween, you're looking at action figures, you're looking at board games, you're looking at merch, you're looking at swag. There's way more of that right now than there was 5 years ago. You don't just, it's not the old days where it's like you have 5 or 6 different cooks in the kitchen that you need to all agree on to move forward with Halloween projects. There's 2. There's Miramax and there's Trancas. That's it. And they're doing what they can for the IP. You don't want to let the IP go stale. You want to do what you can with it. Wolfman said earlier, pardon me, about David Robert Mitchell possibly doing a Halloween movie, and then Flanagan doing the series. I'll be running naked in my streets if those 2 things happen. People might want to put their blinders on, but yeah, I'd be over the moon if that happened. In terms of the second half of Sunday at H45, I would say this: I will not be there. To all those people that are going, I hope you have a wonderful time. Don't get your expectations up too much about an official announcement. At the same time, don't completely rule it out, because again, David Gordon Green tipped his hat last year during the release of Halloween Ends that this process was already starting. I don't know if a CAD and company appreciated him doing that, but so this has been going on for a while. And if you look at Star Wars Celebration, that is an avenue where they do big announcements like this and big things. And obviously Halloween is not the scale of Star Wars, but what better way to, give back to the Halloween fans than to say, hey, we're doing it. And if it is Paramount, like I said, a lot of people connect Miramax to the Weinstein still, and it's not that anymore. It's a Bell Media Group company, and it's also co-owned by Paramount. So if it is Paramount, it's an in-house thing. So it's a lot easier to do that deal than, say, go out and do a deal with Prime or go out and do a deal with New Line Cinema. And New Line might be in the works for something else anyway. We'll see what happens there in the next month or 2. But I, like you, dude, I was our mod Dean's going to hate me for saying this, but I was blown away by Scream 6. Like, Scream 6 to me is what you could get out of a new Halloween movie. I feel like, even though it's a sequel to 5 and technically a sequel to the rest, I know people that went to see Scream 6 who hadn't seen 5, hadn't seen 4, maybe had only seen the original, that enjoyed the movie because they could just sit down and watch it. The way that movie is put together, you can just sit down and watch it as if it's its own thing. And the idea of doing that, I think, is very intriguing.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think Scream 6 is fantastic. I was not expecting it to be great at all. I was expecting it to honestly just be like, I enjoyed 5, but I did kind of leave disappointed a little bit, but I was expecting to do the same thing with 6. And I know that I mean, my parents, they're not really huge into, they're not as into horror or anything that I am, but my mom, her favorite is Scream, and if she had to pick one, and I remember when I sent the update saying that, I remember actually texting saying oh my gosh, they're moving forward with 6. She's like, a 6 one, and then Scream 6 came out. She ended up going to see it, and she absolutely loved it. So I mean, she was like, the fact that, even my mom saying the fact that they have 6 movies that are all essentially good and enjoyable, I mean, that speaks volumes. So I'd say that Paramount's doing a great job right now with being a parent company to the Scream franchise. I think, why not give them a shot with Halloween and see what they can do? And a lot of people blame Paramount because of the sour taste that they had with Friday the 13th and wanting to get rid of that property at one point and just wrapping it up and tossing it. But times have changed now, and I think that there's a lot they're seeing that there's potential. They're seeing that, and goes for all studios. The studios are seeing that there's potential. They're seeing that there's money to be made. There's money to be dished out for good storytellers to keep these characters alive for the fans. And that's, I think, and you also have to keep in mind that, I mean, the reason these slashers aren't going away either is because these are going to be, the next Halloween movie is going to be made for the next generation of teenagers coming up to get them introduced to this franchise and saying, hey, there's a whole lot of stuff here that, you can go back and watch and enjoy. And that's also going to continue. There's going to be Halloween fans that are fans growing up that are going to go on to be the next filmmakers behind the franchise. So, it's like, it's going to be a never ending cycle. But I got time for one more thing, and I gotta jump into this meeting here. So
Yeah. Well, then let's get you out of here, man. Do you have any predictions that what you think is going to happen here, and how soon you think not something will come out, because it's going to take time. People are going to have to be patient. But how soon we might get a announcement on this?
I probably gonna bet on an announcement coming sometime next year. I'd say I think that this is about as much as we're gonna get right now. The next big announcement, now that we know that there are bids going on for the franchise, will likely be the company that it ends up with, or there might be some articles that comes out regarding discussions that have been had or offers maybe, but really right now it's just going to be the bids that, who's going to end up with the rights. Now guys, that does not mean that we are getting an announcement for a new project or a new movie. That is just simply the business as to what company it could potentially end up with. And obviously when we get the breaking news that, like, say it is Paramount, it'll say Paramount wins bid for the Halloween franchise, and it'll probably say something along the lines of finalizing deal. That'll be it. But that, again, does not mean that a new movie is underway. Until it says new Halloween movie announced, you just have to assume that this is all just business stuff. But so I'd say that stuff can go as early as, we can probably find out by the end of this year, maybe, depending on how fast they're moving on this. But I'd say that in terms of projects, I'd say late next year, if anything, as of right now. So
Yeah, I think that I don't know if I would expect it, but I would place a pretty firm bet on you're going to find out which studio is going to have whatever rights they end up obtaining probably pretty soon. And when I say it's much like what Braden just said, sometime between now and the end of the year, they could stun everybody this weekend that goes to that, and that would be wonderful for everybody to be in attendance for. But in terms of like creatives being attached and story direction, yeah, you're probably a year out from that, because you don't want them to rush something like that. And there's been a strike going on. So the business aspect of it, I think we're going to find out sooner than people think. I think the dollar figure is going to make Wolfman's tweet from today look really good, because I think if it's multiple films or even options for additional films, it's going to blow The Exorcist out of the water. And so like that stuff I think could happen relatively quickly. But I think you're waiting until next year till you get all the information on creatives attached and possible story direction. And then you're probably into 2025 before you're filming anything. And, so you're looking at a film, maybe in 2026.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's a while off.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of time here. So I hope that you guys aren't trying to hope. I hope no one here is like fast tracking. Oh, next fall it's coming. It's not going to be next fall. No way. If anything, it would be as early as, I'm talking like whatever direction they decide to go. The next Halloween thing, show, movie, whatever, probably won't be here until fall 2026, if anything. And that's just ballparking like how fast they want to get onto the track. So
all right, man, thanks for stopping by today and doing this. Looking forward to talking more Halloween with you as time goes on. Where can everybody find you at, and what do you got going on right now, dude?
Yeah, so thank you again for having me. It was a ton of fun being on here chatting a little bit about Halloween. Love coming on and talking as much Halloween as we can. You guys can find me on YouTube at Braden Timmons. You just type in my name. That's linked to all my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. I will be live tweeting updates from Halloween 45 this weekend. So if you guys want to follow me and stay up to date on that, you guys can find me at Bat Timmons on Twitter, and then my website as well, screaminmedia.com. I post a lot of different article updates based on what Bloody Disgusting's saying, and just kind of giving my own 2 cents on some stuff as well. That's easier than getting on and doing numerous videos on a single topic. So yeah, that's where you guys can find me.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming out and doing this, and talk to you in the very near future. Enjoy this weekend too, man.
Yep. Thank you, Sean. Have a good one.
You too, dude. That was Braden Timmons. Big thanks for him to coming out today on pretty short notice too. So, that's kind of where we sit right now. It'll be interesting to see what direction this all ends up taking. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there right now. It's important to remember that this process has been going on for a long time. It's not like the strike ended and the bidding started, or that the bidding has just gone on for the last couple of months. This is if you look back on our channel, we have a video talking about this very same update that Bloody Disgusting has put out. So we'll have to see what direction it ends up taking. I'm up for answering any questions in the chat for about 10 minutes, and we'll get out of here for the day. As you can probably tell, I'm already losing my voice. It's not fully back. Sean, any update on your fan film? Am I on strike too? No, I can't afford to take a strike, Trevor. But there is no update right now. I can tell you that we have a whole lot of footage shot, but not complete. And honestly, the likelihood of getting everybody back together on my dime and finishing is probably slim. So it's on the back burner right now, but we do want to do something with it. So not dead, but just not on the front burner. We wish things would have turned out a little bit differently, but we had last year, actually, Braden's one of the people we contacted. Late last year, we reached out to everybody who had made a donation to the film, and just sort of let them know what's going on. And outside of one very angry individual, everybody sort of understood. And I hope we can go back and do something. Just got to be careful how we do it. So one way or another, footage from this is going to be seen. I'd much rather it be seen as a film rather than a bunch of outtakes. So we'll see what happens, but it's not on the front burner right now. Thanks, man. It's appreciated. Liam says, I wouldn't mind an elsewhere story set in Haddonfield. Hang on, I want to get some music playing. All you guys hear is my nasally sick voice at the moment. How about some Halloween? I wouldn't mind an elsewhere story set in Haddonfield. Michael's still alive, but only turns up on Halloween. 1978 is still canon, just left ambiguous and referenced slightly. See, that is 100% the direction that I think this is going to go. I think there will be, again, I have no inside knowledge on this because it's just too early known for in terms of the creative side of things. And I suspect whenever the announcement comes, whether it's this weekend or 2 months from now, at whatever studio has acquired whatever rights, it'll be, if the financial parameters are out there, you'll get that. You might get an idea of how many films they're intending to do, or you might not. But I'm assuming on the creative side, it'll be something along the lines of creative is being kept under lock and seal till a future date, which is the right thing to do right now, right? Because we're not close to seeing this thing. I feel confident that you're not going to have to wait till 2028 anymore for a Halloween movie. At one point in time, I was pretty sure that was the direction this was all going to head, a series first, followed by a movie on the 50th year anniversary. But I do suspect whoever gets the rights will release some movie on the 50 year anniversary, because why wouldn't you? It markets itself. But for me, I just do a clean slate. I give whatever creative is getting involved there in terms of a Michael story anyways, and just let him do his thing and just reference the past, ambiguously, as you suggested. Byron, let's see what he says. By the way, if you haven't yet, guys, please take a moment, like the stream. Helps us out a bunch. Comment down below, share your thoughts there. If you want to support the channel on another level, you can send in a super chat or check us out on Patreon, which is being reformatted, much like the entire channel has overgone here in the last month or so. Byron, a proper sequel to Halloween 4 with Daniel Harris as an adult Jamie Lloyd. Get Aaron Armstrong to come back as Michael Myers. I would pay to see that, Byron, but I don't think that's a attractive story to tell to the average moviegoer if they have to know everything that happened in Halloween 4 for this. I'm not saying it's impossible. And if any Halloween movie featured Danielle Harris moving forward as Jamie Lloyd, I don't think it would be a sequel necessary, or at least a direct sequel to Halloween 4. It would probably be just a standalone movie with that character that very briefly references that movie, so that the new audience and the people that they're trying to grow with can just grow with these characters. And that's why I do think they'll avoid doing something like that. You know, as much as it displeasures me, because I would love to see that, I just don't think that's going to happen. Liam, no nostalgia, no Jamie Lee, no Sam Loomis, just Michael in Haddonfield set an elsewhere universe that could exist with a canon with the first film. I'm not against Loomis being involved in some way, shape, or form, but I think you've hit the nail on the head, man. I suspect that when it's all said and done, it will be something fresh and something that they can move forward with that just ever so briefly references the past. Who, in your opinion, would make a better Halloween movie, Ty West or Scott Derrickson? I'd go Derrickson. That's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own. Like, my dream Halloween project is a Mike Flanagan project, right? But I think it would also be bittersweet to see Flanagan tackle something like Season of the Witch and not get his chance with Michael Myers. I can say this, whatever comes next, if you're a fan or not a fan of the Blumhouse movies, it will be something different than those movies, because they will want to separate the two. Anyways, I think that is going to do it for us today. I got to go back to work, split shift life. So please take a moment, click the like button, subscribe, slash the notification bell. And don't forget that Fandom show live Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays now, 4 days a week. Be greatly appreciated if you guys come back and join in the fun. We're not only talking Halloween and horror, though. We'll be talking Game of Thrones. We'll be talking Star Wars and just whatever is out there in fandom. But with obviously the 45th anniversary convention this weekend, some stuff is bound to come out of it, even if it's not movie or TV related. So we'll be watching that. And to all you that are attending that, I hope you have a wonderful time. We'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern with our Episode 7 spoiler review of Star Wars Ahsoka. So be on the lookout for that. Big thanks to Braden Timmons for coming out and spending some time with us tonight or today. See, I'm so used to being on at night now. I haven't done a daytime streaming God knows how long. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. Live life to the fullest and, keep your expectations in check this weekend. But I think given, an outlet like Bloody Disgusting coming out and, adding credence to the fact that the rights are up for grabs right now, it's something to get excited for. It's fun to speculate, because now it's not a matter of if Halloween is going to come back in the somewhat near future. It's a matter of when. This franchise was never going to stay dead, like people were saying. Too much money to be made, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what comes next in Halloween. Have a great day. See you tonight.